Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Welcome aboard. Bridge MCP is the only one I see in the chat right now. Where is everybody? They think we're not live today. Well, we are live today. We're live today, and I'm going to give an update in a little bit, Bridge, when I get a few more on. I don't know. Where is everybody? I think I hope it queued up all right. I hope it queued up all right. I think it should have queued up all right. People are probably thinking that we're not here because of all the incidents that happened over the last 2 days, but we have a lot. There are a lot of people viewing in other arenas. Let's see, where are all those people viewing? Let's see. We have a lot of folks connected via politics. What? On the website, rather on the chat, and on YouTube, and on, let's see, where is these other people from? We have a few here and there. Okay. E2247 is in the house. Hello, E2247. Thank you so kindly for being here. Great to have you here. Let's see who else we've got here. Para ver, estoy buscando toda mi gente. I'm looking in. Okay, let me just give an update, a real quick update. And the update goes like this. Wait a minute. It seems like we have a lot of folk coming in. What channel is this? Let me see what channel this one is. Oh, we have a lot of people coming in on X. I love all my X viewers. Okay, how are you doing, TikTok viewers as well? We have a lot of people coming in on TikTok, or starting to come in on TikTok. Anyway, let's get busy. Let's get busy with the show. As it turns out, folks, my wife is back home. We brought her home yesterday. She had a severe case of shingles that affected the brainstem, and it left the right side of her face paralyzed. She's working on that right now with some antivirals and other things that we're giving her to try to get that taken care of. She's very weak. She's very tired. Some of the drugs make her very sleepy. So it's one of those very, very difficult things that we're going through right now. But we will get through all of that. But anyhow, we have a very important show for you today. The GOP today had their hearing with Robert Hur, who was a special counsel that wrote that report on Biden and the classified information that was found in several of Biden's homes and locations, etc. The pain is excruciating, Bridge, but it's under control right now. Right now, she doesn't want to take the narcotics, so she's taking heavy-duty Tylenol to replace that. Anyhow, we're talking about Robert Hur, who was a special counsel, a Republican, I don't know why our Attorney General decided to go with Attorney General, well, can't remember his name right now, why he decided to go with this guy, because the guy turns out to be a hack that's running the show. But anyway, if you recall, when he came out with the report, he claimed that the president was forgetful. He also claimed that the president couldn't remember certain things. I mean, it was just a report designed to disparage the president. That was his initial intent. Well, today it backfired. It completely backfired on them today. A lot of people won't initially see it that way, but folks, you cannot argue with what happened there. And what I love, let's see. Bridge MCP says Robert Hur says he did not exonerate Biden and refuses to rule out role in a Trump administration. Of course not. That's the reason why he had to say what he said about the president because he wanted to get on the good side of Donald Trump. But I don't, I don't know that it cares because Donald Trump is not going to win the election 2024. 2024 will be won by Democrats in a landslide. And I mean right up the chain, not only at the presidential level, not only on the congressional and Senate level, but also in the state houses on the governor level. They'll also win big in legislators. Now, Democrats do know how to screw things up. Now, if they follow the path, if Democrats follow the path that's been laid out, both with the things that Republicans have done, meaning IVR, is that it? Intra, whatever that means. What does it stand for? IVR, I think you know what RVG, whatever it is supposed to be. Intra, we know what it means, the glass bottle kind of stuff to have children, with women's rights, as well as democracy, as well as economy. There are 4 things that can be put into a complete message, 4 or 5 things in a complete, easy to hang off your tongue message that lays the groundwork for a complete win. All right, Maywood, welcome to the show. E2247, welcome to the show. BDMCP, welcome to the show. We also have Lee Grant, welcome to the show. And I think, let's see, Radnin, welcome to the show. He's doing his laundry. Well, I love when people make sure to keep things clean, keep their bodies clean, keep their clothes clean, etc. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to, I want to start with what John Adler did, because you'll see what he flipped the coin on the Republicans who earlier on showed a few of the missteps that President Biden made. Well, they didn't show missteps. They destroyed Donald Trump in this one appropriately. Not a bad thing to do. They needed to do this, and they did it. Check it out. We'll take it on the other side. Special Counsel Robert Hur is at Congress now. The Republicans brought him in because they wanted to embarrass the president, even though the special counsel said the president is at no way should be found, should be charged with keeping secret documents like Brother Trump, who actually tried to disrupt our system, who obstructed justice, who lied about it, who asked for stuff to be destroyed. No comparison. But they thought they were going to bring Robert Hur and somehow embarrass the president, and specifically using the portion of Robert Hur's report that talks about the president's memory and certain things that he forgot, etc. Well, there's a thing called blowback. There's a thing called be careful what you ask for, because what happens is sometimes you get embarrassed. Well, they played a video in the beginning that made Biden seem forgetful at some times or misstating things at certain times. What the Democrats did in the beginning as well is have a rebutting video on Trump. And look at what they did. They made Trump look pretty much who he is. And then, so take a look at this. We'll take it on the other side.
January 6th. Nikki Haley is in charge of security. 3 years later, how about that?
Did you actually have a one-on-one with Comey?
Not much, not even that I remember. I don't like mosquitoes. We have languages coming into our country. We have nobody that even speaks those languages. They're truly foreign languages. Nobody speaks them. Saudi Arabia and Russia. Will repeat you. Oh.
I have a really good memory. Your next wife was a woman by the name of Marla Maples.
That's right.
Do you recall what years you were married to Ms. Maples?
It's called Up Here, and it's called Memory, and it's called other things.
So you don't remember saying you have one of the best memories?
I don't remember that. And Putin, has so little respect for Obama that he's starting to throw around the nuclear word. You've heard that, nuclear. We have to win in November, or we're not going to have Pennsylvania. They'll change the name. I talked to Putin a lot.
Did you ask him that?
I don't remember that. I saw that this morning. I don't remember asking him that question. I have a good memory and all that stuff, like a great memory. For 20 years, they were fighting ISIS. I defeated ISIS in 4 weeks. And we did with Obama. We won an election that everyone said couldn't be won. I'm not cognitively. And you know what? When I am, you're going to know it. You're going to be the first people. I know my people. You'll say, all right, Trump, you did a good job. Get the hell out of here. That's it.
Now, after seeing this, I said, wait a minute. There is one important one that you guys didn't put there. What's wrong with you, Democrats? Do you need bloggers to research this stuff for you? Do you need writers to discuss this stuff, to give you all the data? Well, we'll help our Democrats in Congress because there's one important one that's missed. And that is when Donald Trump could not even identify his wife. He thought his wife was Jean Carroll, the woman who sued him, who he has to pay a $91 million to or something. I want you to check this part out. Check this out.
It's Marla.
You say Marla's in this photo?
That's Marla. Yeah, that's my wife.
Which woman are you pointing to? No.
Here.
The person you just pointed to was Jean Carroll.
Who is that?
Now, that is great. The guy couldn't even identify people on a picture. Who has the memory problem again? Tell me, who has the memory problem? But here's the deal. After playing that spiel, it is amazing what one of the congressmen had to say because he identified what Trump was perfectly. He identified the whole concept perfectly. Check this out.
That is a man who is incapable of avoiding criminal liability, a man who is wholly unfit for office, and a man who, at the very least, ought to think twice before accusing others of cognitive decline.
I like where the Democrats are going. I mean, they could be a bit more forceful, but, well, it's still happening. So we may have a few more clips that show them ramping up, not the attacks, but the truths.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
Absolutely so, folks. Absolutely so. But anyhow, folks, let's go ahead to the chat. Folks, if you are, whether you're on Twitter, you're on Twitch, you are on Facebook, or I think all our messages are tied in now. So you can drop a line if you need to drop a line and let us get your message in. Okay, what we have here, Bridge MCP says, Special Counsel Robert Hur, who oversaw the investigation into President Joe Biden's retention of the classified information, timed his resignation from the Justice Department with the help of Trump-aligned lawmakers ahead of his testimony to Congress, reported The Independent on Monday. According to multiple sources familiar with Mr. Hur's plans, the special counsel, who is appearing before the Judiciary Committee at the request of Republican majority led by Ohio Representative Jim Jordan, has arranged his departure from the Department of Justice to be official as of Monday, March 11th. Of course, because he wanted to have some freedoms, right? To be able to, well, you know exactly where we're going. Best to see the tape, replay of the hearing. There was a whole lot beyond what Breach noted her hearing. I hear you. Lee Grant says immigration continues to be a major issue. Now with an open door and disaster in Haiti, your new neighbor may be a cannibal. What? Lee. Oh my God, Lee. I want to find out, what do you find funny in attempting to associate Haitians with cannibalism? I must say you shocked me. I must say that you shocked me, because that relationship is a pretty, I don't want to yet call it racist relationship. I want to see what you have to reply to that statement first. I don't want to jump the gun. But first of all, those Haitians that are killing each other right now in Haiti because of the turmoil in that country, how is that different than what Netanyahu is doing, killing 30,000 people in Gaza? Have you ever considered calling Netanyahu any of those similar names? What about the what's going on in Ukraine? Have you ever considered that carnage and using those derogatory terms there? You surprise me, my brother. Come on, Lee. Explain yourself. All right, E2247 says that video was a high point today. Yes, it was. It was. BJCP says E. Jean Carroll may sure him again. Woohoo! Yes. May sue him again is what I think you mean. May sue him again. All right. E2247, Egberto, they had a lot more, but Jordan enforced time restriction and cut off the video in the mid-sentence. I saw when he did that to the congressman from California. I forgot his name. I have been forgetting names a lot. I got to get my mind, start doing something for my mind. Maywood says, all I know is Egberto stated a video of Trump and suddenly it was over. No, I think the whole thing, I saw it going through completely here. So you may want to tell me what you saw there. Anyway, folks, anybody want to call into the program before we continue? 281-823-7747. Una vez más, 281-823-7747. I would love to hear from some of my peeps. You know, sometimes I'm trying to get more people to call in to the program so that we can have some sort of conversation on these particular issues, because I think these are important times. So give me a call. Again, that number is 281-823-7747. I am not sure, did I play the Stephanopoulos piece yesterday or the Christian nationalist piece of the guy who called into our show? I don't know if I did, but I want to play specifically. I want to play the one from our Christian nationalist that called in, and the reason I'm saying that is based on what Grant did. But I don't know. Grant told me to go to a particular link that he's going to send me. I'm waiting for his link, but I want you guys to listen to this right here before. Oh, let's see. I played the Christian nationalist that I interviewed on the KPFT show, Vrij. Are you sure I did that one? So I played that one already, but I tell you what, I think there are a lot of people here that have not heard that one. So I'm going to play the Christian nationalist before I go into the Jamie Raskin tape. All right. So let's watch this one and then we'll take it on the other side. Let's go to Bart. Come on in, Bart.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. But
talk to me.
The state of our union is terrible.
Okay.
The Biden administration has admitted this week that they are now flying illegal aliens straight from Panama into the country.
Wow.
They're shutting down hotels and turning them into migrant shelters.
Wow.
On our tax dollars.
Wow.
They're printing $1 trillion every 100 days.
Wow.
These people cannot read or write in their own language. I work with them.
Okay.
This is the biggest issue we have.
Okay.
None of that other stuff matters. With Israel, abortion, it's all distraction.
Okay, where did you get that from? I'm just wondering, where that information came from, that we're flying. I know that's circulated in the right-wing media right now. About 400,000 migrants are being flown from Central America, South America to the United States. Somehow they're flown over here. Wow. Let me ask you something, Bart. I want to ask you something. How old are you, first of all, if you don't mind asking?
I'm 54.
You're 54. What's your level of education?
College degree.
What kind of degree?
A Bachelor of Science.
In what field? I'm an engineer. What are you?
I'm in technology, College of Technology.
Okay, technology. All right. So I am going to tell you something. You are, I am pretty darn sure that you're a smart person. Okay. And I am sure that you're probably conservative as well. And that is fine. I have nothing against conservatives. There are some people who believe in small government.
Well,
And so let me finish. I made you finish. Please let me finish. Please. I am I'm pretty sure you may be a conservative. Or let me ask that. Are you a conservative?
I have a confession to make.
Go ahead.
I'm a Christian nationalist.
Okay, great. And that's fine. You're a Christian nationalist. And so I'm sitting here, I'm talking to a Christian nationalist. What does that mean to you?
That means that America's first.
Okay. And what does that mean?
America's going down the tubes.
Okay. And in what regards, when you say America first, when I want our listeners to understand, in your opinion, what does a Christian nationalist mean to the whole America? As a Christian nationalist, what are your beliefs? Beliefs that we should be, or etc. Let's not talk immigration yet, or the immigrants coming over. What are your beliefs as a Christian nationalist?
Okay, I'm a Christian, and I believe that this country is what needs to be taken care of. I could care less about Israel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about Russia.
And
We're
who
not
is
the
this?
world.
Okay, and who? When you say this country should be taken care of first, do you mean everybody in this country?
Yeah, stop sending our tax dollars overseas and stop importing illegal aliens.
Okay, and then what percentage of our tax dollars do we export overseas anyway?
0.
No, so what do we do right now that concerns you? What percentage do you think we give away?
Billions to Ukraine. We're building piers in Israel for what?
Okay, so let me tell you what I find sometimes a bit when I asked you about, I wanted to understand how you think, right? Because a lot of time, first of all, America does not exist in a vacuum, nor can it exist in a vacuum. I've sent Africa and I've sent all these other countries where their cheap natural resources afford us the ability to have what we have here in this country. It doesn't exist. So in order to have access to all these resources that make us the rich country that we are, again, we're not a self-sufficient country from a resource point of view or from a worker point of view or any point of views that you can think of. We're not. If you want to discuss that in detail, we can. So when it comes to America First, one of the flaws in America First is in America First means a poor country, right? I know sometimes it's hard for people to see that, but an America First methodology actually means a poor country because we are so dependent on the rest of the world. If immigrants coming into this country is the byproduct, and which is actually who we are and who you are as well, it is amazing that that message doesn't hold. Now, my thing to all Christian nationalists, and I wish we could do something. I wish we could say, okay, we will partition America into those who consider themselves Christian nationalists. I don't know why you put the word Christian before it. I think you should say nationalists, not Christian nationalists, because if you follow the word of Jesus Christ, and I'm a humanist, not a Christian, but I formerly was a Christian. If you follow the words of Jesus Christ, everything that Christian nationalists of today believe in is anathema to everything Jesus Christ was all about. So, I don't know, for people who are proud to say Christian nationalists under the current methodology, why don't you just call yourself a nationalist?
Because I'm a Christian first.
But you're not. You use the label Christian.
Yes, I am.
But how can you be a Christian if you disobey Jesus's requests? Jesus says, love thy neighbor as thyself. Jesus says to go ahead and open your door to the immigrant. Jesus says, I've come to your house 3 different times and you denied me. How can you accept me now because you see me for me? But when I came as all these others I tell you to want or to help, to assist, to be a part of, you ignored me. That's Jesus Christ. So what I'm saying, Brother Bard, is semantics matter. Not only that, but the truth matters. And a lot of what you read, Brother Bard, may be convincing. But what it is doing is it is taking you based on your belief. I don't believe in heaven and hell. But if you do believe in heaven and hell, the people that you are following are giving you a direct highway to hell. But anyway, we'll talk another time. I just needed to hear who you're. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Ask whatever you want.
Why does your side think that Christian nationalism is a bad thing?
You just proved it. You answered the question. You just said America first, not realizing that America first harms Americans. America first harms Americans. You are asking Americans to harm themselves. And you know why? And let me tell you worse about it, Bard. You are not giving America what it means to be America first. I wish all those publications that you read about America first would tell you what it actually means, because it means if you excommunicate yourself from the rest of the world, right? You create a poor America. That's the reason why we dominate the other pieces of the world, because we need them so badly. And we dominate them to get them on the cheap. But we'll talk another time about this in more detail. I got to go to Moses. Thank you, Bard. You have a wonderful rest of your day. I found that conversation fascinating. It always amazes me how naive people who call themselves Christian nationalists are, or America first are, because they know they are in such a bubble. They know so little about the rest of the world. They know so little about how things interconnect, right? It's amazing, because I don't even think he got the point when I mentioned that we couldn't survive without Africa. And I'm just talking about natural resources from Africa and who controls it, right? Now that the entire West Africa, who was under the colonization, Central Africa, that under the colonization of what's the name of France. France's former prime minister came out straight and said they can't, pretty much, I don't remember the exact phraseology, but pretty much we will stop being a first world country if the African countries get their real financial independence. In other words, if they really are no longer depositing their francs in our banks, their special francs, the special francs for Africa, and if all their monies don't have to pass through us and their resources don't have to pass through us, then what is France? And those are issues that a lot of people just don't like to see. The reality is there's no America first. America can't survive without the rest of the world. Yeah, we have the bombs to dominate the rest of the world, but we can't survive without them. We can't survive without their people or their natural resources. So it is sort of simplistic thinking and the inability to think through different levels of indirection that would have some people believe that there's a possibility that America first makes sense. It doesn't. I know it was funny when I said, now to Moses. Moses is actually a woman. I think she was a teacher. But what can I say? Well, it is quite interesting. Anyhow, folks, let's see. Bridge MCP has a fact check. Very important fact check. Trump claims 325,000 migrants were flown in from parts unknown. In remarks Tuesday night, former President Donald Trump said it was announced that 325,000 people were flown in from parts unknown. Migrants were flown in airplane, not going through borders, not going through the Great Texas Barrier. Fact first. This is misleading. Center for Immigration Studies, though, did not facilitate the flights. And the program by which the migrants entered the United States is public information, not secretive. The article also omits who is being flown within or to the United States, migrants who are approved and vetted. Migrants who flew to and within the United States were allowed entry and through thoroughly vetted through CPB. One, a mobile app that allows users to schedule appointments to claim asylum with border authorities. It's amazing how Donald Trump thinks so little, and the right wing in general thinks so little about its people. They think that its people are dumb, so they just go out there and pull stuff out of the air or misinform with stuff, and then somehow know that their people, because they don't read, etc., they're just going to believe it. And to some extent, that is right. And you know why it's right? Because they ain't got politics done right that they're following. But if you are following politics done right, and look, folks, if you're on Twitter, share the program. If you are on Facebook, share the program. If you are on YouTube, share the program. If you are on Twitch, share the program. This is how we make a difference. That is how we get it done. So please, please, please go ahead and let's get busy and get things done right, my peeps. That is how we're going to change. That landslide that I'm saying coming in November depends on all of us getting our jobs done. Meaning, as you are informed appropriately, you also sell it out there. Let's listen to Jamie Raskin. I think you're going to like this one, my peeps. I think you're going to like this one. So let's get busy. And by the way, for after this one, why don't I get some calls? 281-823-7747. 281-823-7747. Here is Jamie Raskin. Let's go to Bart. Come on in, Bart.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing.
Representative Jamie Raskin did it again. As we all know, the Republicans are having this particular hearing with Robert Hur, who was a special counsel that had some interesting statements about President Biden's memory and his ability to remember, etc., which was pretty much a Republican attack on the President of the United States, on Joe Biden. Well, I want you to listen to how Raskin, Representative Raskin, puts it into perspective, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Mr. Hur, your report starts with the line, "We conclude that no criminal charges are warranted in this matter." Have you had any reason to change your opinion about that?
No, Congress. No, ranking member.
You highlight the independence and support you got from the Attorney General and DOJ. Have you changed your mind about that?
I have not.
The report describes President Biden's cooperation in your requests. He allowed his homes to be searched. He answered questions for hours in the midst of a global crisis. Have you had any reason to change your mind about that?
No, ranking member.
All right. You also repeatedly contrast Biden's cooperation with the conduct of Donald Trump. You say, quote, "Most notably, after being given multiple chances to return classified documents and avoid prosecution, Mr. Trump allegedly did the opposite. According to the indictment, he not only refused to return the documents for many months, but he also obstructed justice by enlisting others to destroy evidence and then to lie about it." Have you any reason to change your judgment about the differences between President Biden's cooperation and the former president's non-cooperation?
No, I continue to stand by those words in my report.
With such a striking contrast, our colleagues have switched over from being impeachment investigators for constitutional high crimes and misdemeanors, which is how this whole thing started, to being amateur memory specialists, giving us their drive-by diagnoses of the President of the United States, whose soaring oratory, powerful historical analysis, and devastating extemporaneous repartee with even the most skilled ninja hecklers of the Freedom Caucus were on full display at the State of the Union address last week for the whole country to see. The desperate quest to invent an issue is a distraction from the 91 federal and state federal charges that Donald Trump faces now, his staggering civil court losses in New York now totaling more than $500 million, and his full-blown embrace and romance with authoritarian dictators and communist tyrants all over the world, from Viktor Orban in Hungary to Vladimir Putin in Russia, the former head of the KGB, to the communist dictator of North Korea. It's not this, my friends, this is a memory test. But it's not a memory test for President Biden. It's a memory test for all of America. Do we remember fascism? Do we remember Nazism? Do you remember communism and totalitarianism? Have we completely forgotten the sacrifices of our parents and grandparents and prior generations? While we play pin the tail on the donkey in this wild goose chase, all of these silly games, Donald Trump entertains authoritarian hustler Viktor Orban at Mar-a-Lago for the weekend, and Orban comes out to declare that if we indeed sleepwalk into another Trump presidency, Trump will, quote, not give a single penny to Ukraine. That's what all of this is about. It's about trying to pull the wool over the eyes of America. because the tyrants and dictators of the world are on the march today. So who wins with this ludicrous, embarrassing spectacle? Orban wins, Putin wins, Xi wins, the tyrants of the world win. They have one more reason to celebrate Donald Trump and his cult followers who've completely lost their way. They're looking for high crimes and misdemeanors. Now they appoint themselves amateur memory specialists, and that's what they pounce on the president of the United States about. America faces a choice between democracy and tyranny. And the president laid it out at Valley Forge, and he laid it out in the State of the Union. Will America stand on the side of people struggling against fascist aggression? Will we stand with the people of Ukraine against Vladimir Putin, whose filthy war has meant the kidnapping of thousands of Ukrainian children, the murder, the slaughter of thousands of Ukrainian civilians, and the attack on an independent sovereign democracy? But we're not working on that today. We're not standing up for democracy and human rights and international law around the world. No, we're trying to play memory detectives to parse the language of a president who the whole world got to see at the State of the Union address directly address the real questions of our time. And it is democracy versus dictatorship. And all of the autocrats and the theocrats, all of the kleptocrats of the world are together in league against American democracy. And we have to stand up for American democracy against these stupid games.
There's nothing like the eloquence of our good friend, Mr. Jamie Raskin. Drive-by diagnosis by the skilled ninja hecklers of the Freedom Caucus. I mean, I kind of dropped some of the words, right? But they failed. Because if people had not heard the president give the State of the Union speech, it would be different. But now they get to see the State of the Union speech, and then they listen to what these Republican clowns are saying, and then they listen to what Robert Hur said, and they have to ask, oh my God, we thought this guy was on his deathbed. We thought this guy couldn't think. So now what has happened is everybody who sees the report, everybody who listens to the president talk about to the Republicans talk about all the things the president can't do, or him being senile or not being able to do the job, looks silly. But what's even better, what they did is the Democrats put out a montage of all the little crazy things Trump would say, all the slurring of the words, all the inconsistency. It was all out there for everyone to see. And then you have to wonder, as one of the congressmen said, he should think twice before questioning the mental capacity of any person, given the Trump that is, mental capacity. And that goes for the Republicans who are on the attack as well. They failed.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing.
Yes, they failed. Yes, they failed. Oh, folks, give us a call. 713. Not 713. I'm giving you my number at the radio station now. Now, let's do it here. 281-823-7747. 281-823-7747. Feel free to give us a call. If you want to check us out, if you want to make your comment on air, one more time, 281-823-7747. I see that Mike Cisak is in the house. We also have let's see who else just got it. Eric Hayes is in the house. Para ver. If I meet Paul Fleming is in the house. Welcome, Paul Fleming, as well. Let's go back now and let me scroll up so that I can go ahead and read the following messages. Let's see. Michael Reyes says, picked a bad day for laundry, shopping, and errands. Too tired today. Catch you tomorrow. Catch you tomorrow, brother Ratnin. Glad that you've been here. We also have Mike Cisak says, it's interesting how Raskin lies with such ease. That's how we feel about Donald Trump, and that's how we feel about all of your Republican politicians, including Britt, who went on and lied about this woman who was raped and trafficked And the woman finally came out and said, first of all, I wasn't trafficked. Second of all, it didn't happen in the United States. It happened in Mexico. And third, it wasn't from traffickers. It was from a pimp. So, and fourth, I should say, I never ever spoke to Senator Britt. So who are the liars again, Mr. Cisak? Who are the ones that go on national TV and lie? Come on. We have it on tape. Eric Hayes says the 50 that signed for Mr. V letter was a lie. Don't know what that is, but I imagine I don't know what that is, my brother Eric. My CSEC says we do remember fascism, which is what the Democratic Left Wing Party is full of. I think you know better. The person who says I want to be dictator for a day, which means if you become a dictator for a day, you dictate being the dictator for the rest of your session, and that is Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump. Donaldo Trump. Okay. All right, let's see. We have Eric Hayes says, let the guy speak, give his money. He does quite often. All right, Bridge also says, whoa, on a roll. Yes. Eric Hayes says, what about people that die here via South? That matters to along with, I'm not sure what you're trying to say there, but again, people die for America all of the times. Bridge MCP says, Raskin was also a professor of constitutional law at American University's Washington College of Law for more than 25 years. A lot smarter than some here. He's very smart. He's a genius. I love he really loves the law, right? Let's see what else we got here. Urgently talking about the dangers of a second 45 president. Thank you for the video link, folks. Check out what brother E2247 is putting in the feed. Mike Cisak also says, Egberto using more fallacies to try to and excuse the failing health of Biden. Oh my God, my mother went through dementia, got to see up close on all stages. Yeah, I know, look. After you reach a certain age, you start to have mental issues. God, I probably started having mental issues already. But let's be clear here, okay? Let's be clear here. If you take a look at how Mr. Reagan was in his last few years, he wasn't quite there. So I think Biden is pretty much there, physically and mentally. Now he walks like an old man because he's an old man, right? But he rides the bike. Do you think Trump could get on a bike and ride a bike? He can move. You see how Trump moved with his overweight self. I'm not saying that there's something really like bad in overweight. I could lose a few pounds myself. But who is this guy to talk about anybody else? Trump is way past Biden. Yes, he is. Absolutely so. Absolutely so. And you take a look at how he speaks. It's obvious, it is clear that there's something wrong with him mentally. There's no doubt about it. The other piece that I want to play, I think I played it already, but we have a lot of new people here. So I want to go ahead and play that piece that I did with George Stephanopoulos. I have just about the right amount of time to do it. So let's go ahead and play the Stephanopoulos piece, and then we'll take it on the other side. South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace is one of the most corrosive Trump sycophants there are. And I think she's actually worse than MTG. And the reason why I say that is because she doesn't come across as belligerent as MTG. And of course, Taylor Greene. Everybody knows she's a charlatan, but Macy Grace can kind of put her foot in two camps. One that makes one think she's moderate, the other one that makes one think she is a Trump sycophant. But the reality is she's wherever the wind blows. This is a woman who, unfortunately and sadly, was sexually assaulted, was raped. But at the same time, she comes out and supports Donald Trump, who has been found liable for rape. And the only reason he probably wasn't done criminally is because of statute of limitations and that sort of a thing. But she talks about women not coming forth because of the shame that they would feel, and then goes ahead and support someone who in effect is shaming someone who he raped, and she supports that one. I want you to listen to this exchange between her and George Stephanopoulos, because I have to commend George for not falling back when she tries to flip the switch and make it seem like he's shaming her, a rape victim. But what he did is he insisted, how can you of all people, support a character like Donald Trump? Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace, a Donald Trump supporter who gave candid and courageous testimony about her own experience as a rape victim weeks before launching her run for Congress in 2019.
From some of us who've been raped, it can take 25 years to get up the courage and talk about being a victim of rape. And the first thing that happens when a woman comes out in public and says she's been raped, what is the first thing out of someone's mouth? Is that it didn't happen. This is why women do not come forward. They are afraid.
Congresswoman, thanks for joining us this morning. You've endorsed Donald Trump for president. Judges and two separate juries have found him liable for rape and for defaming the victim of that rape. How do you square your endorsement of Donald Trump with the testimony we just saw?
Well, I will tell you, I was raped at the age of 16. And any rape victim will tell you, I've lived for 30 years with an incredible amount of shame over being raped. I didn't come forward because of that judgment and shame that I felt. And it's a shame that you will never feel, George. And I'm not going to sit here on your show and be asked a question meant to shame me about another potential rape victim. I'm not going to do that.
It's actually not about shaming you. It's a question about Donald Trump.
No, you are shaming me.
You've endorsed Donald Trump for president.
Right.
Donald Trump has been found liable for rape by a jury. Donald Trump has been found liable for defaming the victim of that rape by a jury. It's been affirmed by a judge.
It was not a criminal court case, number one. Number two, I live with shame. And you're asking me a question about my political choices, trying to shame me as a rape victim, and I find it disgusting.
Doesn't it make it harder for women to come forward when they...
It makes it harder when other women joke about it, and she's joked about it. I find it offensive. And I also find it offensive that you're trying to shame me with this question.
I'm not trying to shame you at all. In fact,
I have dealt with this for 30 years. You know how hard it was to tell my story 5 years ago when they were doing a fetal heartbeat bill and there were no exceptions for rape, incest, or rape or incest in there? I had to tell my story because no other woman was coming forward. No rape victims were represented. And you're trying to shame me this morning.
I'm just asking.
And I find it offensive. And this is why women won't come forward.
Women won't come forward because they're defamed by those who perpetrate rape. Donald Trump,
they are judged and they're shamed. And you're trying to shame me this morning. I think it's disgusting.
I'm not shaming you at all.
I told my story. It took me 25 years to tell my story. I was judged for it. I still get judged for it today.
I'm asking you a very simple question.
And I answered it. You're shaming me for my political choices.
I'm asking you. Well, you're welcome to say that, but you have to answer the question. Why are you supporting someone who's been found liable for rape?
I just answered your question.
What is the answer?
He was not found guilty in a criminal court of law. It was sexual abuse. It wasn't actually rape.
You said women don't come forward because they are afraid. They are afraid
they're
because
judged
they're
and shamed
by those
you're trying to shame me this morning.
They are afraid to come forward, as you said, because they are defamed by those who commit the rape. That's what Donald Trump has been found guilty of doing.
He defended himself over that and denies that it ever happened, but he was not found guilty in a criminal court of law. It was a civil judgment.
So is that the distinction you're making?
Abuse.
A civil judgment is okay, but a criminal judgment is not?
This is different, and they didn't even input all of the evidence into the civil case either, because some of the information she provided wasn't even accurate or correct.
You don't find it offensive that Donald Trump has been found liable for rape?
I find it offensive as a rape victim that you're trying to shame me for my political choices. If you want to defend a woman who made a mockery out of rape, then you go ahead and do that. I'm not going to do that.
Well, actually, what you're doing is defending a man who's been found liable for rape. I don't understand how you can do that.
Not in a criminal court of law. This was a civil judgment over sexual abuse, not rape, by the way, and she made a mockery out of it.
Can we pull up the Washington Post headline right there? In fact, it has been shown to be rape. The judge affirmed that it was, in fact, rape. Donald Trump was found found to have committed rape. That's just a fact.
That is a civil judgment, not a criminal court. They're two very different things, and you know better.
Well, I just showed you the facts.
You know better.
You show that you're very comfortable with what Donald Trump has done.
And what you've done is offensive to women who've been raped. What you've done this morning is offensive.
We'll let the viewers decide about that. Let's talk about January 6th. You had just been sworn into Congress on January 6th. You voted to certify the election, and you said Donald Trump must be held accountable for the violence right after the riot. Let's show that.
We've got to hold not only the president accountable and ensure that he doesn't hold office again in the future, but also we need to hold members of our Congress, even in my own party, accountable for the rhetoric and the actions that led up to Wednesday's events.
You said he should never hold office again, so why are you supporting his run for president?
Well, I listened to my voters. I listened to my voters in South Carolina, and they've moved beyond January 6th. I said my piece on January 6th. I was very clear about how I felt about it. And I also, as you stated, I voted to certify the Electoral College for every single state in the country.
Not talking about January 6th doesn't mean it didn't happen. You were very clear right there.
I was very clear. I just said that.
You said he should never hold office again because of what happened on January 6th, because of what he did on January 6th. You said he should be held accountable. How have you held Donald Trump accountable for what he did on January 6th?
The American people have held him accountable through the ballot box, just as they will hold Joe Biden accountable in November at the ballot box.
And
that's
you will
where it's been
continue
done.
to support him even if he's convicted of a felony?
Well, here's the thing. You know, the court cases, the lawsuits, that has nothing to do with you or me, it doesn't affect the American people.
So you've made it very clear you're comfortable with Donald Trump being found liable for rape, and you're comfortable with his actions on January 6th.
I didn't say I was comfortable with it. You're putting words into my mouth.
You wouldn't condemn it.
And you're putting words into my mouth.
Well, are you comfortable with it?
I support Donald Trump for president.
So you're
I just
comfortable
endorsed
with it?
him a few weeks ago.
Even though he's been found liable for rape?
In a civil judgment, not a criminal court case. But you go ahead and keep shaming women who've been raped. Good luck with that.
Thank you for joining us.
Well, you know, Macy Grace, after January 6th, she was gung-ho. Donald Trump should not be able to hold office again. She also was gung-ho about pointing out that she was raped and that we must take away the stigma from this, and all these things she stood for. And anathema to it all, she decides then that the person that's best for America, the person that's best for America is a person a judge has deemed a rapist, is a person several states has deemed an insurrectionist. That is in South Carolina's Congresswoman Nancy Mace model in what she believes. That is, in fact, the best person for America. God help us.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
South Carolina. Politics Done. Oh, look at that. I had it up. politicsdoneright.com/support. Please support the program by going to politicsdoneright.com/support. It gives you all the different options and way to support the program. The other way to support the program is to support it via our Patreon. We have a Patreon. Please go to politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Find one of the options. Some of the options allow you to read all the books that I've written by just subscribing to our Patreon or subscribing to our network. Likewise, you can come to our newsletter. Our newsletter is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. We send a newsletter out every morning at 5 for our KPFT program at 6 in the morning. And of course, this program comes after the KPFT program in the afternoon. Likewise, those people who want, let's go to Breach. Breach is in the house. Good afternoon. Breach, how are you doing, my dear?
All right. How you doing, Alberto?
I am doing great. I'm hearing your voice. The stars are aligned. Talk to me, my friend.
I just want to make sure you're okay. I want to just make a comment about the whole rape thing.
Yes, please do.
It's I can't stomach MAGA Mike. So I mean, he's just way out there. So he's unreachable. Medicine to the dead. But I don't think. I mean, men are raped. That is a true thing, and they don't come forward. Probably less forward than women do.
Right.
It's like a thing. But when you are raped, whether you're a man or a woman, it will arouse you. It does. It's a bodily function. It's a muscle reaction. And men are raped, and they get aroused, and they do their thing. And sometimes women do as well. And no, they may not remember all the particulars. You're in a fog. You don't know what is going on. You just know you don't want to be there. And it's a fog. And so if that fog lasts and you don't tell anybody, it stays with you. I've been there, done that. You cannot imagine if someone a week or two later asks you detailed questions. You can't remember because you block it out because it's a human thing to block it out. You don't want to know it. You don't want to remember. And sometimes it takes 20 years and all of a sudden you hear a song and then you're like, oh shit, that song brings that back. It happened to me going to therapy one day and I had to pull over and I started crying. I just blocked it out. I was kidnapped for 3 days by a doctor and whatever happened. And I blocked it out. And it was, 8, 10 years later, I remembered. And that's how long it takes. So when people say they didn't remember, they couldn't do this, they didn't do that. I mean, have you ever been raped? Ask yourself that. And the answer is probably 99% no. You have not, especially if you're a man. So when people say these things, they have no clue. Like Mike Zizek's writing, she couldn't even remember when the rape happened. No, you don't. You don't remember these things. You don't remember all the details. They come back in stages because your body psychologically blocks it. So it just bothers me that they don't understand. What is he saying? She was wearing a particular dress, but not that dress. Wasn't made for 3 years. I mean, see the bullshit he's saying? I mean, he doesn't know what it feels like. Although I can make it happen very quickly for him. But he doesn't know what it feels like. Most men do not. They don't get it. They don't understand what it's like. So it's very emotional.
I can hear it in your voice, Breach. And let me just say one thing before you go here. We're at the end of the program, but I want to address this. We had a minor crash right there as soon as I started speaking. I'm not sure what that is. But that lack of empathy, Breach MCP, is sad. That we find from many on the right when it comes to women issues, etc. They just don't get it. But I tell you what, your voice and what you just did here, first of all, it will touch many of them on the fence that they just don't get it because of who they've been informed by. Yes, to folks like Mike Cisak, on who we have here on our chat, there's a good chance that he is unreachable in the near term. Something will happen to him because that is what's happening around the country. Something will happen to him at some point in time that everything that you've taught him thus far will register. So all I'm going to tell you going forward, girl, is that you have a home and you have people who understand what you're saying. But I have to get out of here, my dear sister. So
yeah, I didn't mean to call so late. I was waiting,
not at all. Not at all. This is what we're here for. Thank you so kindly for calling in, Breach.
No problem. Give all our love to Linda and the family.
Will do. Absolutely will do. Folks, please support the program. Go to politicsdoneright.com/support. Please subscribe. Please subscribe to our network. And how do you do that? Or to our newsletter. You go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. It is free, but I'm asking you to become a paid member. Those of you who are already free, consider becoming a paid member. It helps us continue to do this, continue to do what we do. Please consider also, and by the way, if you become a paid member of our newsletter, all of my books, you get to read them on the product. Here it is. Here is my new book, Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man. Racism didn't stop my smile, hope, or journey forward. I am sure whether you're Latino, white, black, blue, or whatever, you will enjoy this book with the stories that I have to tell. It's an easy read, very easy read. Please consider getting it. It's very easy to access. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.